Hey everybody, it's Brian with Dolo to Get Together. Just going to be showing a deck today, doing some tribal goblins. Uh, I like tribal decks. I think they're fun and they have a lot of built-in synergies. We're kind of heavy on 3-drops in this one. Get some decent 1-drops. We got 4 of the Tin Street Dodgers. They come in with haste, so you can start swinging them real quick. 4 shocks. They're nice. Any target can be dealt damage. This is a pretty big piece to the deck, Cavalcade of Calamity. Whenever a creature you control with power 1 or less attacks, Cavalcade of Calamity deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Goblins have a lot to do with being 1/1s. So you're going to get a lot of value out of Cavalcade when attacking with this deck, especially if you get 2 or 3 of them on the board. We have a non-goblin in this goblin deck, Chandra's Spitfire. It is an elemental, but along with the Cavalcade of Calamity, whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra's Spitfire gets +3/+0 until end of turn. So if you have a bunch of goblin tokens out and you haven't really been able to attack for a little bit, you can just swing with everybody. If you got 1 or 2 or 3 Cavalcades out, you're dealing a bunch of damage, and these Chandra Spitfires get huge quick. That can be just a 1-attack game ender. He works with our Goblin Smuggler as well. It's a 3-drop with haste. You can tap him to give a target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Do that main phase to Chandra Spitfire before it buffs, and you can give it unblockable. And then if you swing in with 3 goblins that are 1/1s, and you have 2 Cavalcades out, that's 6 non-combat damage you'd be doing directly to the person's face. Chandra becomes a 19/19. That on top of the Cavalcade damage, or excuse me, it becomes a 19/3, but it's unblockable. Then on top of the Cavalcade damage, unless they've already gained a buttload of life, that's lethal right there. We do also have the Clamor Shaman, or Shaman. He has Riot, so you can give him a +1/+1 or haste. I've always used him for haste, because he's always been great for dropping and getting rid of a blocker. Because whenever Clamor Shaman attacks, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. So if they have 1 guy out, but it's a big dude, or just someone troublesome you don't want to trade with, you can throw Clamor Shaman out, give him haste. If you got the Cavalcades out, he has synergy with that, and creatures won't be able to block immediately once he attacks, once you bring him in. We're running 3 Kranko Tin Street Kingpins. He builds a ton of goblins very fast. Whenever Kranko attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Kranko's power. He's nice to combo also with Legion Warboss. When Legion Warboss attacks, you can mentor. If you haven't attacked with Kranko yet, you can order the triggers to mentor Kranko, and then Kranko will be affected by his own trigger, making him a 3/4 first swing, and then you get 3 goblins off of it immediately. So that's awesome. And Legion Warboss will also create a 1/1 red goblin creature token at the beginning of your combat, even the first turn you bring him in, unless you bring him in second phase, obviously. That token gains haste until end of turn and attacks as combat if able. So nice little additional triggers for Cavalcade of Calamity. You're not worried as much about him because he's creating 1 every turn. We also have Skewer the Critics. So that's got the Spectacle for 1. Spectacle, of course, if your opponent has taken damage this turn, you may pay the Spectacle cost as opposed to the regular cost of 3. It is a sorcery, which can be kind of annoying, but dealing 3 damage to any target in a deck where you're getting damage in pretty much every turn, that's pretty big. It's a big secondary main phase card. Then we got 4 of the new M20 Goblin Ringleaders. They also have haste. They don't do anything with the Cavalcade of Calamity or anything, but when they enter the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all Goblin cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into the bottom of your library in any order. So in a deck, when you're running 4, 8, 12, 18 Goblins, or, 22 total Goblins. I don't know if I counted that right. Yeah, somewhere in that range. You got a lot of Goblins. You can whiff, which sucks, but ultimately that's going to draw you into more cards later. A lot of times when you whiff, it's like 1 or 2 mana. You might miss out on a Shock or a Cavalcade or a Skewer, but at that point you're pretty deep into the game. Hopefully you don't need it that much. We do have a sideboard going currently. You have 4 Torch Couriers, which can give creatures haste. They themselves also have haste, which can be nice for Krenko, because he is Shiner Spitfire as well. They're both big targets once they enter the battlefield. People don't like them to stay around. So getting fast triggers if needed off of those guys. Torch Courier is good for that. A couple Ember Haulers. We are running Shocks. I like having the Shocks as opposed to Ember Hauler, even though Ember Hauler will count as a Goblin. Shock can be activated turn 1, which I like to use for... there's like the blue creature that every time you play a spell on your opponent's turn, it gets +1/+1. Those kind of creatures, Healer Hawks, you have to take care of some creatures before they start giving you problems. Ember Hauler I'm looking at, he might go in the deck. I'm still playing around with the idea. Goblin Gatherings, just if you're trying to build a buttload of goblins. Not bad against control decks. You are just putting out a whole bunch of creatures. Better against control decks, Leyline of Combustion. If you get people that are blowing up your stuff all the time, returning things to your hand, Leyline of Combustion's in your opening hand, you may begin with it on the battlefield. You can play it for free turn 1, or before you even start playing, you just play it. That's how all the Leylines are. Whenever you, or at least one permanent you control, becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. That's what you want against a control deck. As soon as you start playing creatures and they start bouncing things, they start killing things, unless you're playing a straight counter deck, which I have seen a few times, people just running 20 counters in their deck. Leyline of Combustion will get a lot of damage into people who are murdering or destroying target tap creature, things like that. Especially blue-black, who are still using the Thought Erasures and things like that. We got 22 land. I was running 21, but I was running 20 originally when I first started the deck. I was shocked how few land the difference of 2 was getting me, so I don't think I'm going to drop this below 22. I was consistently drawing 2 mana hands and getting no manas drawn 3, 4, 5 turns into the game. Great hand, obviously, it was all gas, but I had nothing to play with it, so by the time I finally got that mana, the writing was on the wall. So I'm doing 22 for this deck. So jump into a game or 2 or 3, depending on how long they go. Let's see how the deck runs. I got a good opening hand. Maybe we'll draw into a Cavalcade of Calamity for a 2-drop, but got some token creation, so we can stop a blocker. I think we'll do Legion War Boss first, just to see if we can draw any. Oh, could they have Quench? They didn't have anything. Didn't even slow them down for an option. Because they're holding a Frilled Mystic. Black 2. Get that Cranko out beforehand. Cool. Just go in with the 1/1s. Don't really want to mentor any of these guys. We want to build them up. Hopefully get some Cavalcade of Calamities out. And it wouldn't hurt to mentor. Especially if we can trigger mentor. Oh, on Cranko. Let's see if we can do that next time. Let's see if we can get them 2+2 or 2+1/+1 counters. Running everything but white. I could drop him with haste, swing and stop the Spitfire from blocking. Get the ball moving on my Crankos. Let's try that. Let's get a little aggressive. See if we'll do it in that order. So we'll mentor Cranko. Cranko will put 3 guys in, and you can't block. And that's a hell of an army of 1/1s. Let's get yours and Reef out. And insta-punch it in the face before you get to pull your land. That's fine. Shock yourself. You're dead next turn. Yep, that's it. You drop a Clamor Shaman afterwards, and you don't have anything to do. Ooh, I like that pacifism. It's cool art. I don't know why I always start with 2 mana. Let's see what we draw into. Either works incredibly, or you get punched in the scrot. Hey! To the next turn. Throw Kranko out. Then I got my choices with the Smuggler or the Shaman. Hopefully these guys don't have any 2-drops. He skipped right to the second phase. What's he sitting on? He's sitting on something. I don't trust him. What are you doing? Don't do it. Don't kill my guy. There's one activation. Yeah, might as well get the extra damage in. That's one of the nice things about Smuggler. He's a 2/2, so we don't get Cavalcade the Calamity triggers, but he's got haste and he can... well, that didn't take much. That was a nice quick one. High tree. Holy hell. I've never drawn 4 mana in this deck before. That's going to be the exact opposite of normal, isn't it? I'm just going to start playing nothing but land. Hello. Pick a land to drop. Concede. Do it. Do it. Just quit. I got a kitty. Kitty says quit. Really? What are you doing? I'm trying to show this deck off. I'd like another match to go more than a minute and a half. Okay. What if they lost connection? That sucks. That's happened to me a lot. I'm on a different floor than our router is. So from time to time, depending on the room I'm in, I'll just suddenly drop connection and then the game just won't do anything. I'll have to exit and come back in and I lose. Oh, those change means I can skewer the critics, I think. That's cool. I mean, I can't currently. They're sorceries. He doesn't look like a ringleader. He looks like a ringleader. Hey, some trash, man. You used to be able to click on a card and it would, there you go. This is your sacrifice, okay. Let's see, I've actually got card and mana advantage because you skipped your first turn. I mean, I guess I could kind of see that if you wanted to discard a card into your graveyard to get back later. You're stupid. I don't have any enchantment removal in this deck. Get rid of that card draw engine you got. Spectacle you right in the face. Right in the Siren Stormmancer. I just fucking dealt with that Legion War boss. Yeah, well. They're not legendary, so I'm running a lot of them. Running all the war bosses. King Street. Refill our hand, see what we get. Not a lot. Why not? Oh, there's another Exile? No? Oh, that's just the war boss. I didn't see what I put on the bottom of my deck. I don't think it's going to matter at this point. I think we're going to see another concede. I didn't even get to play any of my elementals. Pop. And that's it. That's been my my goblins. Like I said, there's not a ton of them. Once standard rotates in October, or in October, we're gonna be left with pretty much these and a couple that are in my sideboard, and then some that I don't think are completely playable. Which I'm happy to splash elementals for some upcoming potentially good goblins. So we'll see what the rest of Standard has coming out with once the next few sets drop. And like, comment, and subscribe, and everybody have a great day.